Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Thank you for coming to today's webinar, Implementing Differentiation in K-6 Mathematics for the new New South Wales syllabus. I'd firstly like to make an acknowledgement of country. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the many lands on which we create and share our learning resources. We acknowledge the traditional owners as the original storytellers, teachers, and students of the land we call Australia. We pay our respects to elders past and present, and we also extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. And I'm currently presenting this webinar from Wurundjeri country, which is part of the Kulin Nation. If you have any questions today, please feel free to put those in the chat. We'll try and address them as we see them, but if not, at the end of the webinar, we'll come back to them. And if we have no time for that, we'll also be able to contact you afterwards to get back to you with answers. So today we're looking at implementing the New South Wales syllabus for K-6 maths with a differentiated approach using Oxford Maths for New South Wales. I thought I'd start with a bit about the NESA syllabus. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it by now, having implemented K-2 in 2023 and now 3-6 this year. So this infographic basically is just a summary for you showing the strands, the stages, the focus areas, and with the two working mathematically outcomes straddling the whole curriculum and embedded within the content that will be taught. So within the NESA syllabus, again, I've just taken a snap from the NESA website here to remind you. Every stage is made up of the strands and includes focus areas, outcomes with codes and descriptions, concepts and content descriptions, or the dot points as we like to call them. Obviously the NESA syllabus covers the same strands as the AC version 9 and then breaks them down. The main difference is obviously the NESA syllabus works in stages rather than year levels. So for stages that span 2 year levels, the focus areas are usually divided into Part A, covered in the first year of a stage, and Part B, which is largely covered in the second year. So when it comes to Oxford Maths for New South Wales and how we've treated the curriculum, we've basically tried to follow a similar structure for you so that it's very easy to manage. We've organised our content in a similar way by stage, strand and focus area. You can see that on the sample contents page on your screen now. And then our topics cover the concepts and the content descriptions of the NESA syllabus. Again, for stages that span 2 year levels, Part A is usually covered in the first year level and Part B in the second, but there is some crossover as well. Obviously, in early stage 1, it's just the single year level of Year K, so that's not an issue there. So we've supplied a curriculum planner for every year level of Oxford Maths for New South Wales to help you know that you're covering the curriculum and also to help you with reporting requirements as well. For every year level, we're showing, again, the strand, the focus, the outcomes with the code and description, the concepts and the content description. So a large part of the syllabus is on that document for you. And then we're showing the product link or the content link within Oxford Maths for New South Wales. So we've kind of flipped the usual model. Often with a curriculum links chart, you'll see the book or the content first and then the link. But because we're trying to be so thorough for you, we felt this time around we'd really concentrate on the curriculum first and then our product links. So you've got a really thorough planning document for every year level to inform your school or class scope and sequence requirements and your planning. Again, just got a close-up of some curriculum planner details here. So you'll see there's a key at the bottom of that first page with some product links in red and blue. Unfortunately, I don't have an example of a link in red, but what that indicates is a content link that isn't in the student book. So it might be in the professional support, in the teacher's notes, it might be an activity that's given there, or it might be a video. And a good example in Year K is something like making numbers with your fingers, which is obviously hard to recreate in an interesting activity, on the page. So that's something that would be in the teacher's notes or presented as a learning resource. So blue in the key indicates concepts that link across stages or year levels. So in Year 5, Unit 3, Topic 6, Number Patterns, and Topic 7, they link to multiplicative relations, but they also involve order of operations and some algebraic thinking. So they're linked to additive relations too. So that second instance where they link to a different concept, we've put that in blue. So again, that's nice and easy for you to track and make sense of. We also have some looking back and looking forward links, so revision and extension. And this basically covers extra content that, again, reaches across a stage or year level. A good example of this is square numbers, which are not in the NESA syllabus until Year 7. But our Oxford Maths author for Year 6 really wanted to touch on it in this year level. So we've added a looking forward link to show that that's optional extension material. Another example is in Year 5, where there are no content descriptions in Stage A about percentages, but Stage 3B or Year 6 does have this information, so this will be shown as an extension link in the Year 5 book. Again, Stage 3A or Year 5 has some revision of Year 4 content on giving directions, so you'll see this will be marked as looking back or revision content in the Year 5 book. So I hope you can see that we've tried to give you really good, clear and comprehensive coverage of the maths curriculum for New South Wales and lots of useful material at every year level so you can track that through. So moving on to our authors for Oxford Maths for New South Wales. And I'd like to introduce you virtually to them. So Annie Facchinetti is our main author for Oxford Maths. She's head of literacy at the moment at Xavier College in Melbourne, but has been a maths leader for many years and also a classroom teacher. She's also authored plenty of other primary resources in her career. Annie is passionate about differentiation and ensuring that every student experiences success in every maths lesson. Brian Murray is our co-author. Brian has a background in primary teaching in the UK and then more than 25 years experience in the New South Wales public system as well. We also had Karen Bellamy and Claire Houston of Aurora College, a distance-based learning college in Linfield, contribute to the adaptation and write new material for us to suit the New South Wales syllabus. So we had hoped to have Annie join us today to talk about developing Oxford Maths for New South Wales, but unfortunately she's not able to due to some unexpected teaching commitments. So I'm going to present on her behalf and talk a little bit about the research and history behind Oxford Maths for New South Wales. So in about 2016-17, Annie took some time out of the classroom to come and develop Oxford Maths for Australian Schools for Oxford University Press. And this program has basically become the basis for Oxford Maths for New South Wales. So we know that differentiation is about taking account of significant differences among students in terms of their ability, their rate of learning, their language proficiency, their literacy and numeracy skills, and then using this knowledge to adapt the way the curriculum and learning activities are presented to them to help them succeed. It needs to be used together with effective evidence-based teaching methods, and these methods, when skillfully implemented, can ensure that right from the start, almost all students can come to grips with the concepts and information and skills being taught, or at least experience some success at their own level and not be left behind. So this slide shows some of the evidence that Annie used when she was developing Oxford Maths. She's extremely interested in evidence-based pedagogy, and she knows that maths teachers have a large and long-standing base of knowledge to draw on. Some of the publications referred to here are also available as handouts. You can actually follow links to these from the webinar. So one of the key reports that Annie used when developing with Oxford Maths was a Grattan Institute report on targeted teaching. And with the development of Oxford Maths, she followed 3 key tenets of that report. So number 1, teachers need to identify learning needs and adapt their teaching in response. Number 2, before teachers teach a topic, they need to understand what the student can already do and what the student is ready to learn. And number 3, as they teach, they need to see how the student is going. So constantly check in and provide tailored feedback or support to address obstacles or misconceptions and help the students stay on the right track. So the Grattan Institute really rang true with Annie's classroom experience, and that she's really tried to translate that into the development and structure of the Oxford Maths program. Oxford Maths follows a gradual release of responsibility model, which comes from research from around 2021 that identifies effective teaching practices for all learners. So again, 3 key tenets there are, clear teacher demonstrations of concepts and skills, guided and scaffolded practice opportunities leading to independent practice, and again, corrective feedback along the way to make sure that students can stay on track. Annie also incorporated some of John Hattie's work on visible learning when she was developing Oxford Maths, so allowing for flexibility and valuing teacher judgment as well. Annie always reminds us when she gives workshops or presentations that evidence of learning is much more than just student results or test scores. It should include what a student can write, make, do, and say, as well as what they can't, so that teacher observation, judgment, and understanding are at the core of good teaching and learning. So something else that we have kept in mind when developing Oxford Maths over the last few years, and specifically for New South Wales, is the need to address the skills gap. So in 2022 and again in 2024, Lee Walker of Oxford University Press conducted some small group research with teachers to investigate what we call the skills gap. According to our respondents, as students progress through primary school, the gap in mathematical skills and knowledge gets wider, with most classes from year 4 to 6 experiencing a 3 to 5 year ability span between their lowest and highest achievers. I know that none of this is news to people watching the webinar, to teachers of primary maths. We know that this means that, for example, that some students in a year 6 class could be working at year 3 level, or they could be working at year 9 or 10 level. The gap becomes that wide as we work through primary school. So we wanted to keep that in mind again when putting together Oxford Maths. And one of the results of the skills gap that actually persists into secondary school and has a huge impact on students is that the effect on engagement, confidence, and anxiety levels. Annie knows that building confidence at a young age is really critical to this. And if students don't see themselves as successful learners of maths, they're less likely to engage with maths as they continue their school journey. So we really wanted to avoid or to help avoid maths anxiety when we put this program together. We know that maths anxiety carries over, long into adulthood for many of us. And again, if Annie were presenting, she would always say, if you ask the audience who's not a good reader, you might get a few hands go up. But if you ask the same audience who's not good at maths, you'll usually get a much bigger show of hands, with absolutely no fear of admitting that. So allowing students to experience success in maths early is part of building a lifelong attitude to maths learning and good outcomes going forward. Now on this screen, I'm sure, again, this quote won't be news to any of you. This basically sums up the challenges faced by many students and teachers. And this was a reflection of Annie's own experience as a classroom teacher. So, as a result of this, she really wanted students to experience success, but also wanted teachers to feel successful. So Oxford Maths for New South Wales is designed to really support teachers in managing differentiation in the classroom. And this, in turn, as well as helping students, it helps teacher confidence and satisfaction too. We're going to put up a poll now on the webinar and invite you to let us know some challenges that you might face in your own classroom. These could be the skills gap, managing different abilities, different behaviours, or even just the time it takes, to cover a huge curriculum, even just a huge maths curriculum. Please feel free to add whatever you'd like to the poll, and hopefully we'll have time at the end to come back and look at people's responses. So in summary, the Oxford Maths approach is based on the understanding that primary teachers need really comprehensive resources to support differentiation in the classroom while covering the curriculum, which can be very demanding, especially a new curriculum, and really to lead to good support for teachers and students. So Oxford Maths for New South Wales follows a structure that allows teachers to manage the classroom as well as manage the teaching of mathematics. And this in turn gives every opportunity for students to experience success in every maths lesson. So now I can give you a closer look at Oxford Maths for New South Wales. We'll start with our beautiful covers. So this is our cover suite, and it shows our value packs. So our value packs are made up of a student book and an assessment book at every year level. The look and feel of the books is designed to be clear and engaging with appropriate use of language as well. So literacy does not become a barrier to learning maths, because we know that it can do that when texts are very heavy and difficult to read. So we've taken that into account as well as part of our approach to differentiation. If we look inside our value packs, we have our student books, so full colour, and they are organised by level, strand, unit and topic. So they follow a topic-based approach. If you can see the table of contents there, it's a topic-based approach, and that supports sequential acquisition of skills, concepts and knowledge. We supply a suggested term planner for every year level, but that's very, very much editable, so you can change it to suit your school or class scope and sequence as you see fit. But we try and ensure a logical sequence of teaching and learning. The student books, as I said, follow a gradual release of responsibility approach. So you'll see at the beginning there's a modelled example, and this happens at the start of every topic. And then we have a guided practice section, an independent practice section, and an extended practice section. The books are designed to be tackled by every student for sure, but if your lower cohort do not finish the extended section, or conversely, if your really able students skip over the guided practice section, that's not an issue. We understand that sometimes this is an issue for parents at home who want to know why the book isn't totally complete. So we do provide a letter to parents and carers, or a template for that, on our teacher dashboard that you can send home to parents if you need to explain this situation. The content in our student books is based on a very rigorous audit of Oxford Maths for Australian schools, and a reorganisation of that original Oxford Maths series with new content, obviously specifically written for the NESA syllabus to cover off those unique curriculum points. And even when the AC and the NESA syllabus share similar concepts at the same year level, Often the NESA syllabus specifies how a concept should be taught, and it can be quite different from the AC treatment of that concept. So a huge amount of change has been made. For example, in Year 1, we have a new topic for estimating and finding the nearest 10, because this does cover off content that is unique to New South Wales, and two dot points that are totally unique to New South Wales, using number lines and number charts to assist with locating the nearest 10 to a number and estimating to the nearest 10 the number of objects in a collection, and to check by counting in groups of 10. So we've made wholesale changes to account for the NESA syllabus extra content. We've also included some extra topics. If you look to the right, the contents page there, you'll see a couple of topics that I've tried to point to. They're quite small. Recognising Australian coins and ordering coins. So some topics don't have direct curriculum links, but we've kept them in there as digital only topics on our teacher dashboard, and that's indicated by the Oxford OWL icon. So they're for extra use, because we know that financial mathematics, as well as being used to teach number, is of great value in itself, and often something that will be taught, in this case, in the early years. So we've retained some optional topics that are digital, online only. They're not in the student book, but we've pointed them out there, so you'll be able to find them online. So moving on to our assessment books, again, they mirror the student books. They have a pre-test and a post-test for every topic. The pre-tests are designed to provide a quick and easy snapshot of where the students are at in terms of prior knowledge and ability for every topic. The post-tests measure learning and growth, and an assessment grading guide is also supplied, because the questions in the post-tests are weighted in difficulty, so they are worth more as you move through the questions. Again, there are pre-tests and post-tests for those online-only topics, and they're found on our teacher dashboard, which I can show you shortly. So differentiation in action. How does the program work? Well, you start with the pre-test to determine every student's prior knowledge and ability, as I said, for every topic. Then you can sort your students into 3 basic ability groups. So these groups can and will change for every topic. We're basically looking at above level, on level, and below level. There are 3 basic groups. And we know that these groups should change for every topic. We know that some students are really good at number, but not great at measurement. We know that other students have a handle on length or angles, but when it comes to number, they're challenged. So all students are different, and they're also different across mathematical concepts. So the idea is that you can differentiate for every topic as you approach it. Once you've sorted your students into those 3 groups, you can follow the teacher notes and use the differentiated learning resources to provide learning at each group's point of need. And then once you've worked through the teacher notes and the lesson plan, you can use the post-tests to measure results and record and report on those results. So I'm going to show you a short video next of our teacher dashboard on Oxford OWL. Unfortunately, we're not able to show the live site because it's still under construction with things happening in there every day. Our teacher dashboard should be ready by the end of August. So this is just a 5-minute video that I'll talk to give you an idea of the flavour of our teacher dashboards. So you log in on Oxford OWL, which is home for all our primary resources and teacher resources. And you'll see there's several Oxford Maths for New South Wales titles in my library. So this is Oxford Maths for New South Wales UK. This is your landing page. And we have a read function. So you can use the book on screen or front of class, and you can see the table of contents on the left-hand side as well. So you can scroll down through those contents, or you can move through the book to see different pages and different topics. You can also flick back to the resources tab on the left while you have a topic open, and it will show you all your resources for that particular topic, or you can go back to the table of contents. Then you can go back to the landing page and into the resources tab again to view all the different resources. You'll see that there's plenty there. So there's all your planning and assessment resources, such as your curriculum planner, your term planner. And then there's also resources that are linked to the learning within the topic as well, such as practice quizzes, activity sheets, Blackline Masters, and so forth. Now, I think we're going to show you here how we assign resources to students. You can see the button on the top right there, and we'll assign a pretest here. So you'll see on the left, you can give it a name. On the left there. And then you can assign to a group or to individual students. You can go to the assigned work tab. You can also give a date for it to be completed by if necessary, and you'll see it pop up there. So you'll be able to see how many students have completed it and how many students are still to attempt it. And then you can delete it there if you want to as well. So nearly all those resources are assignable. We're showing you an example of a ClickView video. So if your school has a ClickView account and you have that open while you're using Oxford Maths for New South Wales, we've curated some videos, I think one for every topic. And this one is obviously counting on your fingers, and you'll be able to use those at the front of class as well. And there's also some great First Nations content in some of our ClickView videos, which is a real bonus. I think we're going to show you an example of a practice quiz question. So while these are largely multiple choice, because this is an early year level, year K, we have Lunosity functionality. So we actually have several different options, not just multiple choice. We have drag and drop. We have questions where students can key in answers directly. We have calculator functions, all kinds of questions. So really interactive, and they mirror our assessment books really well. So you have your assessment book option for pre and post tests, and you have your online option for pre and post tests too. You'll see here we have a reporting screen with an assessment report and a curriculum report, but we don't have any examples in there at the moment. I'll show you some screenshots after we've finished the videos, just to show you what they look like. And we have front of class topic interactives as well, although these can also be assigned to students on their screen. So there's one for every topic. They're designed to be used as an introduction, or it could be a game that you could play as well at some point during the lesson plan. You'll see that we're doing click and click to put some answers in here, and that this one is based on counting to 10. So you can check your answers. There you go, all right. And you can refresh and get another set of questions to do again. The interactives are really great front of class options. People really like those. Then back to your library if you need to. You can click into another year level if you have a whole school subscription. Back into year 6 there, or year 5. And then you can log out when you're finished for the day. So that is our teacher dashboard, home of all the professional resources, learning notes, all kinds of things. Next, we have our e-reader. So I wanted to show you this because we'll be offering our assessment books in this format too. We'll start that now. You'll see you can use the e-reader basically to scroll through the assessment book or any other PDFs, change pages, and you'll see that we have a writing tool. So you'll be able to answer some questions. If you wanted to use this, for instance, front of class and do the pre-test or post-test as a class, that's an option, or have students work along in their booklets while you're working at the front of class. You'll also notice that that pen is really thick. So that's something that's still in train at the moment, that we hope to be able to offer a weighted pen size, so that will work a bit better for you. You can also annotate the files and it will save for you. So it's a really good tool. So I just wanted to give you a little taste of the e-reader there. And then next we have our teacher notes, which are also in the e-reader. So our teacher notes are in an accessible format. Again, you can scroll through these. You'll see that the learning sequence offers preliminary information for every topic. So curriculum links, materials, which are common classroom materials, a learning intention and success criteria as well. And then as we go through here, you'll see the different sessions. So an introduction, a daily practice activity for every topic, pre-assessment, and then instruction and consolidation and post-assessment. And you'll see that some of these sessions are whole class, but then they're broken down into those 3 ability groups. So you can have your 3 ability groups following a slightly different learning path. While one may be using online resources, you might be doing hands-on work with another, and then it might flip in the next topic. So really clear, easy classroom management for you to follow, really supportive for new teachers as well as experienced ones. I can see that there is a question from Jessica around subscriptions. We'll come to that at the end, Jessica. We've got also some of our sales consultants online, so we'll talk to that at the end. Thank you. So that is our differentiation in action using our digital resources. I hope you enjoyed the taste of the digital there. It won't be long before that's completely up and running. As I said, our students also have a dashboard. So I just wanted to show you their login to Oxford Owl. It's very simple and intuitive. They get simple password options that can be set up for a whole class using, basically a colour, number, and an animal, and they're dropped down so that they are very easy to use. 67 green shark is always mine. And once they're logged in, they also will see the student book online, and they'll be able to receive any resources that you assign to them and complete those tests and quizzes online if preferred. So I'm just going to show you as well a still shot here of some of the resources we couldn't show you in the digital. So as I said, we have an editable term planner, our curriculum links charts. We also have some terrific pre-learning notes, our Oxford Maths Ready support notes. These are fantastic for your below-level cohort. So they're designed to be used before a topic. If you're lucky enough to have a learning support aide or even a very capable parent, you might want to take a group out to prepare them for the topic ahead. So, for example, you might have some students who don't have the language of 2D shapes before you do that topic. So you'd be able to take them out in a small group, go through the language, squares, circles, that kind of thing, do some preliminary activities and almost bring them up to speed before you tackle the topic, so that they're going to have a better chance of success when you get there. We also have some potential difficulties videos. So you'll see Annie's hands there. I can't tell what they're demonstrating, but every topic she lists a potential difficulty that you might encounter in your teaching. And these are really just 30-second videos that you can watch before you start teaching a topic to help you deal with that difficulty if it should arise. You'll also see examples of activity sheets and a BLM there. So they're the kinds of learning resources as well as those interactives that we showed you and answers and so forth that you'll find on the teacher dashboard. I wanted to talk a little bit about our mastery tasks. These have been largely written by Brian Murray, who is absolutely passionate about real-world mathematics. So you'll see as I talk, if you read that little quote from Brian on the screen, you'll see that he loves to take students a step further and really have them apply their skills and understanding to real world problems. So we offer mastery tasks for years 3 to 6. They're very enriching and engaging, and they offer real-world, open-ended problem-solving activities. They can be used individually or in small groups or even as a whole class project. We had a school in New South Wales a couple of years ago who loved using these, and I remember the teacher told us that they tackled the mastery task on the Fibonacci pattern, and she had students bringing flowers in for weeks afterwards so that they could count petals and compare the different flowers, which was really lovely to hear. The mastery tasks are also good for fast finishers or students who are really quite above level, but they're structured so that, again, all students can start off, can tackle them. Your extended students may get all the way through to the last question, and your less able students may only answer the first few, but they're certainly designed to be accessible to all. The mastery tasks aren't referenced in the teacher notes, so they are something extra that you can decide how you'd like to use in your own particular class. I'll just come back to those assessment reports that I mentioned, just so I can show you on a still screen what they roughly look like. So our assessment report shows results of pre-tests, practice quizzes, and post-tests, and they're colour-coded to reflect the 3 basic ability groups on, above, or below. So if your students take the online pre-test, the result will show up here before you start a topic, and you'll be able to use this to determine your groups and create groups on the teacher dashboard if required within your class. Students can then tackle the practice quizzes if you assign those, and the post-tests, and results will show up here on this assessment reporting screen. And you can also create custom assessments too that will show up at the end. So even if you wanted your students to tackle the post-test in the assessment booklet, so the print test, you could create that as a custom assessment and add the results online as well to show up in your reporting screen. Our second report is our curriculum report. So only the post-test is linked to the curriculum report. So it's tagged or linked to curriculum outcomes, and you'll see up there that you can see the strand and also an outcome code. And if you click on the code, you'll be able to see the full description for that outcome. And you can export this data as a CSV file as well. So at the end of each topic, you can use your curriculum report to see how each student tackled the outcomes linked to that topic. Before we hand over to, or look at our poll results and hand over to Sam Fuller to talk a bit about our subscription information, I wanted to mention that Oxford University Press has a relationship with Matific, and in particular, we have a version of Matific that will be aligned to the structure of Oxford Maths for New South Wales. Matific has a very similar pedagogy to Oxford Maths. They again, very big on differentiation and individual learning paths in their gamified activities. So it's a nice match for Oxford Maths, and it means that we can provide an independent online practice or homework solution if you'd like to follow that up. And our sales consultants can put you in touch with Matific if that's an option that you are interested in. So I thought we'd come back to those poll results now, if we had anyone put in some of their challenges, and have a look at those. So yes, so we've got catering for the range of abilities, which we talked about, teaching all students no matter their level at their point of need, student engagement and differentiation. Student engagement, I think, is a really big one, because you're dealing with those different levels. Keeping everybody on track and on task is certainly a challenge. So we've definitely tried to cater for that at both ends of the spectrum. At one of our recent New South Wales workshops, we did have a teacher who said she had that year 9 or 10 ability student, in her middle years primary class. So we talked a lot about the mastery tasks and how they could be used to really challenge those students, without them losing interest in a class. Yeah, managing different abilities and behaviours, extending students. Again, we can come back to those mastery tasks. Time to cover off all the curriculum, such a challenge. And it's not just the maths curriculum, right? Like the whole primary curriculum is very crowded. So hopefully using a program like Oxford Maths means you know exactly what you're covering off in your allotted maths teaching sessions, and you've got confidence that you're working through and covering everything you need to get that done. And again, maths anxiety and different levels in the same class. So again, our approach with Oxford Maths is to enable every student to feel some success, whether that's at the guided practice level or at the extended level, and in that mastery level as well. Great, thank you for putting in some responses there. I'm now going to move on to our subscription details. And I can invite our sales consultant, Samantha Fuller, if she'd like to talk to us a little bit about that.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks for sharing with us. Schools who decide to book list or purchase class sets of the new Oxford Maths New South Wales will receive complimentary access to the digital resources that support the program. The complimentary teacher and student dashboards will provide a plethora of support materials. The teacher dashboard has everything you need to support your students to be successful in mathematics. So if you confirm your book list adoption or place your order now for early access to the teacher dashboard to start your planning for next year. We have the value pack, which includes the student book and the assessment book all in one for $32.95 per student. And we have the individual teacher license as well, offering K-6 access for one teacher for 12 months.
Great. Thanks, Sam. I have got a couple of questions here as well that we can speak to. So Kathy has said, for the assignable tasks, do the instructions come orally, or do the students need to be able to read the instructions? So no, they don't come orally. The students do need to be able to read the instructions. We're working to keep any instruction text fairly intuitive and simple. And what we do find is after the students have used the resources once or twice, as all kids seem to do with digital, they're kind of intuitive and they know what to do. So they're reading less and less each time they know how to attack that task. But great question though. No, we don't have oral instructions at this stage, but you never know down the track. We had a question from Anna. How would you address 1/2, 3/4, 5/6 classes in terms of books needed? I should mention that we do provide term planners for composite classes, so for all the combinations you've mentioned. So as well as the single class term planner, we've got the composites as well. Again, they're editable. Again, you would be working across the 2-year levels within a stage. So you'd be working across 2 books. So you would have to still manage the 2 books. So yeah, it does present a bit of a challenge, but hopefully the term planner can help you with that. And I think it would be, the same as organising any composite class. Really, it's got that extra level of complexity for sure. So I've also had a question from Cheryl about the difference between Maths Plus and Oxford Maths books. That's a great question, Cheryl. So Maths Plus is our other whole school textbook series, specifically for New South Wales as well. Maths Plus is a spiraled series, so within a unit you will tackle content from 1 or 2 or 3 strands, and then you'll tackle that content every term. You'll keep returning back to concepts and building on that content, whereas Oxford Maths is topic-based, and that means that you go through topics one by one, although you could use our daily practice activities to revisit topics if you liked. That's the key difference. I'd also say that Maths Plus might be slightly more complex in its literacy approach, whereas Oxford Maths, we've designed to keep that approach a little bit more simple in terms of literacy level, and the Oxford Maths teacher notes and lesson plans are highly differentiated. Maths Plus does have some activities with, graded in difficulty, but your cohort isn't split up into those 3 groups as it is in Oxford Maths. Just scrolling down, got a few more. Okay, so Emily's been using Oxford Maths for the Australian curriculum this year, wondering if they're fairly similar. So we did supply a scope and sequence for the NESA syllabus with Oxford Maths for the Australian curriculum. So you could use it, but feedback that we had from most schools was that they really wanted to see that level of detail in the concepts and content descriptions for their scope and sequence reporting. So we did move things around and introduce new content that's really tailored specifically for New South Wales. That's not to say you couldn't use Oxford Maths for Australian schools with the curriculum links chart, but you might find our new Oxford Maths New South Wales to be a much closer match to the curriculum with a lot more detail of what you're covering off. And another one from Jessica L. Is there a trial period? I'd like to know if this would work for my classroom. I'm browsing now and can't seem to find where to see the subscription easily. Sam, did you want to speak to that one, retrial periods?
Sure, Jessica, we can certainly provide you with a trial. So if you want to just get in touch with us, we can definitely provide you with a trial without any problem.
Yeah, definitely. We have an evaluation period, don't we? So for the different year levels, that's possible. I haven't got any other questions. Oh, yes, I do. One more. From Emily, is there any chance more in-depth summative assessment tasks could be written? We're finding the post-test isn't as in-depth as we would hope. Sure, that's great feedback, Emily. We have very active authors and we are always looking for feedback from schools, and we do try and take that on board as we develop the series. So great feedback, and if that's what you're finding, we can look into that as we go forward for new editions for sure. I think that was the last question. So we're pretty much on time. We really appreciate everybody logging on after a busy day at school. And we hope that you've found something interesting in the webinar, and please don't hesitate to have a look at those handouts. There were some of the research documents, as well as our evaluation pack and our Oxford University Press report on the skills gaps were included there. So have a look, and you can see the QR code on your screen if you'd like to connect with us further or jump on the website. And we hope you have a great rest of the week with your schools and classes. Thanks, everybody.